Well, Sludge, how you do, Buckaroos? How the heck are you? Yeah, if you've been paying attention, you know I am. I turned 59 today. I still got my wristband on. I just came back from the concert. I did the VIP package. I still got my lanyard on. That was signed. I'm going to take that off, though. Signed by most of the band members of both bands. I don't know if I got all of them or not, quite frankly. I kind of lost count of who was there and who was signing what and who was in which band, to be honest with you. But anyway, it was really cool. I got the lanyard that, you know, you knew you were special. Still got the wristbands. So I'm going to take that off now, too. I don't need that anymore. Had to come home and get something to drink. And by something to drink, I mean, I need some tea, man. I was parched. I was doing a lot of screaming. Probably going to be hoarse tomorrow. But boy, both bands were incredible. Let me tell you about the whiskey first. I decided to open a bottle for my birthday just tonight. It's the Huling Station single barrel straight bourbon whiskey. It is at 113.16 proof. That's oddly specific. A 5-year-old. This is the Bourbon Society of the Ozarks pick. I do like the Huling Station products, most of them anyway, because they tend to be a high rye bourbon. This one is no exception. That's why I used it to make sort of an old fashioned here, because it's only 52% corn and 44% rye, so it's very much a high rye bourbon, which I really enjoy. And I made myself, I did pour some neat here in my Bourbon Society Ozarks glass. I want to try it neat, but I made some cherry vanilla simple syrup. So for work, I'm going to do, they're calling it old fashioned cherry pie. It's basically a cherry pie old fashioned, but I don't have my cherry bitters here. I got the good cherry bitters at work, but I'm out here. So I had to improvise. I made the cherry vanilla syrup. I've got the high rye bourbon in there. And out of the bitters that I have here, I decided to just put a drop of the cardamom, adding a little bit of spice with that cherry to see how that worked. Oh man, that does work. That's nice. I got to tell you, I really like the syrup I made though. I used some real cherries. I stole my wife's cherries. That didn't sound right, Tom. I stole my wife's cherry. And made a cherry vanilla. I wanted to add some vanilla to it. Because I very much, and the reason I used fresh cherries and just slowly steeped them down. I didn't put them in a boil, but I got the hot water and just let those cherries sit in that boiling water rather than I didn't keep the water boiling, if that makes sense to you. Just let that cherry flavor slowly develop, and it really, I mean, it turned the syrup red. That spice in there is nice. I wasn't sure how that worked or not, but that little bit of cardamom really, yeah, really emphasizes that. Wow, that's good. It's good. I like it. I might have to do it this way from now on. Boy, that's good. I wasn't sure if it'd work or not, but man, that is good. Adding that little bit of spice to that cherry. But yeah, anyways, I used the real vanilla, the real cherries, and boy, that syrup just came out so nice. So I did something I haven't done for a while, a very long while. As a matter of fact, went to a rock show tonight. A couple old bands, one from the 80s, one from the 70s. It was billed as a dual headlining tour, Saxon and Uriah Heep, although Saxon played first. Both played full sets, though. And boy, was it a good show, man. Wow. No, it was impressive. Saxon played first. And man, they had that house rock. They sounded tight. I mean, I've heard complaints before about the Gilloys and the sound, but man, they were on it tonight. I mean, the sound was perfect, and that band was tight, tight. There was no mistakes made, man. And both bands, to be honest with you, were just incredible. The bass players in both bands were just beasts. They were amazing, man. Saxon's two guitar players. They're that, they almost have that typical 80s metal band with, two guitar slingers. vocals, bass, and drums. While oh, I forgot to fix this here. While Uriah Heep, one guitar player who was the original member, the founding member of the band. I think he was the only original, but the singer might be. I'd have to look that up because he's been with the band a long time. But he did make it clear that the guitar player is the one who formed the band, which made me believe he might not be the original. But if he's not, he's been there a very long time. Come here. Got to check that privacy. Fix that up there real good. Anyways, I digress. Yeah, well, they were both again. Both bands were just amazing. Both guitar players. Yeah, the one guy that did primarily rhythm, but he also handled a few leads, and he was amazing. Both were amazing, but the guitar player and Uriah Heep, I mean, he was wow. They had a keyboard player in Uriah Heep, and I met him before the show, but I didn't get his name, and I'm really mad at myself now that I know his name that I didn't get his name while I was talking because I talked to him for a few minutes. Real friendly guy. He just said he picked up some tour dates. He's not typically a member of the band, and I wish I'd have talked to him more because I really feel, oh my God, Tom, if that guy would have told you his name, you'd have known who he was. While they were introducing the members of the band, he was talking about the keyboard player and who had a very famous father who was a keyboard player that you may have heard of. He said anyway. Rick Wakeman. The keyboard player's name was Adam Wakeman, the son of the legendary Rick Wakeman. I went, oh, Tom, why didn't you ask the man his name while you were chatting with him? You know, oh, mercy. But he was right. He was incredible too. They let him each do a solo, and he's doing his thing, and he does one thing where he's still going with one hand, and he kind of turns his head away from the keyboard while he's still doing the thing with one hand, grabs which appears to be a beer. I don't know if it actually was. It was something to drink, but it looked like a beer bottle, and knocked that back while he was still doing the thing with one hand. It was amazing. But I got to tell you, man, the bass players for both bands were just incredible. The bass player for I got a better look at the bass player for Uriah Heep because where I was sitting, the bass player for a Saxon was on the other side of the stage, so I saw the guitar player more, but they'd come over once in a while, man. But he was just playing hard. But the bass player for Uriah Heep was right in front of me, and that dude's fingers were just amazing. Yeah, that was some. I mean, he was doing some. It was like Steve Harris bass lines. I mean, seriously, that good. The guy was amazing. Anyway, it was just the whole show. The Saxon show. I was so impressed with the Saxon show that I sent a message to a friend when that set was over. So this is one of the best shows I've ever seen. It really was. I mean, when they busted into the songs that you knew or that I knew, I should say, that I grew up with, I guess. Uh, Two in particular, Denim and Leather, and then they finished the show off with Wheels of Steel because that was the Bring the House Down song, and oh man, that was crazy. I was screaming so much. I'm gonna be hoarse in the morning because I'm a little sore. Oh, the show was freaking amazing though. Like I said, I hadn't done a show like this in a long time, and I'll be honest, the last couple of times I've tried to go listen to live music, and it has been difficult, and I really haven't enjoyed it as much as I used to. So I was kind of getting to the point where I was just going to quit doing it. And then the opportunity for this show came about. It was about 3 months ago or so when the tickets became available, maybe 4 months ago. And had it not been exactly on my birthday, I probably wouldn't have gone, to be honest with you. If the show would have been the 23rd or the 25th, I wouldn't have done. But since it was right on my birthday, I kind of felt like it was a sign. But I was really nervous before the show, to be honest with you. Sometimes sitting for that long period of time is difficult. But boy, the shows, both shows, were so full of energy and so intense that I mean, it was over before I knew it. Uh, Man, that is really good. I'm a genius. Yeah. Didn't have the cherry bitters. Well, I got orange bitters. I can use orange. I can. I decided to just put a dash of the cardamom in there. Thought maybe that little spice would help, or work. If not help, but it would work. Yeah, and it really does. It elevates that cherry vanilla a little bit. I am off tomorrow, though. I did take the Saturday off. Originally, I was going to have Sunday off too, but then I was asked to pick up a shift, and because I have to take a couple of days off at the end of the week, I agreed to go ahead and work because I have to have next Sunday off. Uh, my mom passed away a couple weeks ago, so the funeral and memorial services that Friday and Saturday. So I knew since I had to take some time off that it might be wise to go ahead and pick up the shift. Because originally I wasn't gonna, but then after I talked it through in my head and then talked to my wife about it, worked it through in my head, maybe I really ought to. And I kind of, even though it is the Memorial weekend, I kind of like working those days because well, they're good days to work, right? More I really expect more business than a typical Monday since it's Memorial Day. However, I do know some of my folks, my some of my clientele, if you will, some of my clientele are out of town, but I think enough of them are going to be around to make it worth it. Let me unbutton my shirt here. I'll show you. I decided to wear this underneath to kind of represent banter while I was at the concert because typically we're a concert tee, but don't have any anymore, and then that would fit me. I haven't bought any in a long time. I didn't buy one tonight though. I hope it fits. So I should have bought a. I thought I probably should have got the 3X, but I got the 2X. My wife says she can wear it. Yeah, I did. I did kind of splurge because it was expensive. I'll be honest with you. But I just felt like I really should buy the shirt. Oh, I was going to bring my goodie bag over here and I left it over there somewhere. Where did I put that? I'm going to grab that real quick. Hold on. I'll be right back. So there were some things that went along with the VIP package. Let me show them to you here. Show you my shirt here. I had a few of the members of both bands sign it. I don't think I got them all. I mean, it was kind of confusing. It wasn't really it wasn't necessarily an organized meet and greet where you went through a line and saw each one. They were all just there and you just had to kind of but that kind of made it fun though, to be honest with you. It was just kind of like everybody was talking. Show that to you. And then on the back side, I don't know if you could see any of that there, but I had a few of the members sign that. I don't know if it'll stay in after it's washed or not, but I don't, it doesn't really matter. It was just the idea, right? You got a signed picture from both bands here. There's Saxon there. And if I'd have been smart, I'd have looked at the pictures, and then I would have recognized it was who. But anyway, all right, I was kind of, I don't know. I wasn't really. I didn't have anything to drink before the meet and greet, but I really wasn't. I was really nervous for I'm not sure what reasons, to be honest with you, but I was. Show you that there, right? Um, I don't remember the names other than yeah. See the keyboard player in this picture isn't the guy that played tonight. But this guy here, that's the bass player in Uriah Heep. This guy right there, man, he was freaking amazing. That dude was a beast. And then this guy for Saxon here, that's right over here's the bass player for Saxon. Man, that guy, I can't remember his name, but man, he was insane. Um, These two guys right here for a Saxon, those are the guitar players. Just the show was just phenomenal. Wow, I just can't say enough good things about it. I just had oh, I didn't realize this was in here as well. I got a couple plastic cups that say Saxon on them. I'm sure my wife will commandeer them at some point. It's kind of how we do things. Todd, how are you, brother? I'm going to post that. Thank you, sir. It's still technically my birthday. Well, you're on. I guess you're an hour later, so I guess for you it's. Oh, I didn't realize this was in there. A Uriah Heep bottle opener. That's going to come in handy. You can never have too many bottle openers. You can't. You just can't. And then Saxon, a keychain. Saxon keychain. Oh, cool. I dig that. Got a bottle opener and a keychain. That's pretty cool. I can dig that. That'll come in handy. I forgot you were an hour later than I am. Technically, on my end, I've got 7 minutes left. My wife has to be nice to me for 7 more minutes, and it's back to the usual. Anyway, I digress. Man, that cherry syrup I did. This is one of my favorite simple syrups I've come up with. And it was, it wasn't like it was difficult. It's just cherries and vanilla or sugar and water, obviously. But yeah, I mean, that's all I did to it. Man, it just came out so good. It's going to make I thought that'd be a nice, Memorial Day old fashioned for work. I wanted to come up with something that said, and that will work for the holiday, I guess. And cherry pie is what came to mind. Oh, we got a little bit of that tea. So I did pour myself a little bit, about an ounce and a quarter of that high rye bourbon neat, so I could try a little bit of it. I forget what time it is sometimes. Yeah, me too, brother. Me too. But I needed to wind down a little bit. I was kind of wound up after that show. And like I said earlier, I just didn't know. Well, I don't know if I said earlier. Might have been just talking to my wife. Um, I didn't know how I was going to react to the show. To be honest with you, I hadn't sat for a long show for a while. And like I said, the last couple times I've tried to do live music, it was difficult. But man, this one it was just so amazing. I'm not really sure what it was. It was just the dynamics of it all, and that kind of it felt like Seamus was there with me, especially for the Saxon part of the show. I think he would have liked Uriah Heep, but I know the songs, the energy, Saxon would have been the band for him. But he would have enjoyed both, especially that bass player and keyboard player. Holy crap, man! But it was nice, and there was a kid there. He turns 29 tomorrow. He said there was a lady in line with us who turned 39 yesterday. I turned 59 today, and there was another kid just in front of me in line who turns 29 tomorrow. Anyway, the kid was decked out, man. He had this homemade vest with a lot of rock patches on it. Various bands from different eras. It was incredible. And I was telling him about Seamus. And it was nice, man. It was nice. I'm glad I did. I wasn't sure how it was going to be. I was very excited when I bought the tickets. But anytime I spend money like that, I instantly have buyer's remorse. Right. The second I convinced myself it was the right thing to do. I hit buy, and then oh damn, should I really have done it? I would have been second guessing myself for the last 3 or 4 months, and then really up until the date. And then it came time for the show, and I was really nervous. And I don't know why I was so nervous, man, but I was really nervous. Do their meet and greet and talking to folks. They had this lanyard tied up tight in this in the handle of this, and it took me like, I don't know, seemed like forever. It was probably like 5 minutes to figure out how to get that thing. This guy was thinking, damn, I wish my wife was here because she could get. So I'm there looking like, oh my god, I'm a fucking idiot. I can't figure out how to get this. But I eventually got there. But the longer it took me, the more nervous I got, and that started setting in that maybe this wasn't a good idea. And, hey, thanks, Todd. Have a good one, bud. But anyway, bottom line, it was a great show. If you ever get a chance to see either band, even if you don't think you're a great big fan of either, if you like the genres, go. Because quite frankly, I grew up with Saxon. I grew up with Uriah Heep. I liked them fine, but neither one were really in my top 10, to be honest. But there were just other circumstances or the reasons why I wanted to buy these tickets and go. Part of it was Seamus. Part of it was because it was right on my birthday. Everything just seemed too coincidental not to buy the ticket. But watching them, I mean, both bands were so tight. The musicianship was just amazing. So even if you might not think the bands are for you, if you like the genre at all, go, because you will not be disappointed. Both bands were just amazing. Great showmanship. Oh man. With all the fuss about weeded bourbons, I don't know. I think kids just like a sweet whiskey. Yeah. uh, I got to be honest with you. I not only do I prefer a traditional bourbon that uses rye as a secondary, but I really prefer a high rye bourbon. When I taste a bourbon like this that uses 44% rye, I mean, I'm drinking this going, damn, that is amazing. 52% corn, 44% rye, and 4% malted barley. I mean, that 44% rye. A lot of folks call a high rye bourbon anything over about 22, to be honest. I like to see over 30, but 44, I mean, wow. At 50, you have to be a minimum of 51 to be a bourbon. So this one just gets there at 52. And I know you heard me talk about this before. It's not just the flavors, it's not just the aromas, it's the mouthfeel, the viscosity. I mean, it can't feel thin, but then you don't want it too viscous either. This one really drinks amazingly well. And I'm telling you, even at this proof, I'm drinking this neat. I didn't drop any water in it at all. And if I mean, at this proof, you could put a couple drops in, it's not going to kill it. But a 113.16, again, oddly specific. At 113 proof, I mean, damn, this is amazingly approachable. I mean, take a look at this. You're not going to see any face whatsoever. This is good, man. Flavors and aromas. I haven't really got into that because I've been talking more about the concert, but not as sweet as your typical bourbon because we got a lot of rye happening here. It feels very nutty. Almost feels like I'm getting like toasted hazelnut notes in there. You're again, okay. I'd like to keep this unpretentious as humanly possible. So you're going to get the usual suspects, right? You're going to get a certain amount of vanilla. You're going to get some spice, and you're going to get some oak. How you interpret that is up to you. That's one of the reasons why I don't really like to get extremely specific because what you taste is what you taste, right? You got so-called experts that want to tell you, well, you're going to taste this, and you're going to taste this. Notes of cigar and tobacco and leather and horse pee and they'll say all sorts of things that make absolutely no sense. And the truth is, if you don't eat certain things, if you don't smell certain things, you're never going to feel it that way. That's why I tell folks what you get is what you get. You're not wrong. You're never wrong. If that's how you feel it, that's how you feel it. Stuff is gorgeous. Spice notes. I use a lot of spice when I cook, so I tend to pick up stuff that others might. I don't eat a lot of dark fruit, so I tend not to get a lot of stuff that others might. So there's that balance, right? So I guess I always say you might get date and or fig, you might get dark cherry. A lot of those just depends on what you eat. Raisin sometimes comes into play. Again, you're not going to taste what you don't know, what you're not familiar with. For me, the spice notes, are just gorgeous here. And it could be because I just put cardamom in that cocktail. But yeah, I feel a little cardamom. I feel like the usual suspects, a little cinnamon, a little allspice. But yeah, kind of a mix of baking spice, right? I feel that cardamom. I feel a little ginger. Might even feel a hint of nutmeg in there. But I'll be honest with you, I actually feel more allspice than cinnamon. And it is a subtle difference, but it is a difference. But I love the way the vanilla just kind of runs all the way through it. The dark fruits, yeah. Again, for me, I certainly feel some raisin. But again, for you, if you eat data and or fig, you might get those notes. I feel some dark cherry notes in there. I just try to keep my descriptors as unpretentious as humanly possible, much to the chagrin of the uppity bourbon drinkers that want to make it more complicated than it needs to be. Uh, I was getting drier than a popcorn fart, though. That's why I popped the tea, man. I need something to drink, man. I needed something to drink, man. I didn't have anything to drink before the meet and greet because I didn't want to be impaired when I was meeting those guys. Right? I wanted because I was nervous enough anyway. If I had a beer, it might have calmed my nerves a bit, but it might have made things worse too. So I didn't have anything to drink. But once we got through the meet and greet, it was about an hour and a half before the show started. It's strange the way the Galois is set up. They do have a couple beverage areas, uh, but the auditorium itself didn't open up for about another hour. But there's this, you go into the Galois, there's this little hallway off to the side that hooks up to a restaurant next door called Dublin's Path. So I just went into Dublin's Path as a lot of us did. And I had a couple beers there. I had two beers while while we were waiting to go claim our seats, if you will. I had two beers, and the kid I was talking about came in, and we were talking a little more in there. Ty, if you're watching, hey man, it was nice to meet you. Anyways, so yeah, and then after the Saxon set, I went in and I knocked a. I didn't want anything high ABV. I just had myself a Boulevard wheat. I wanted to get out of that room for a minute, right? Out of out of that large group of people. So I went over there to Dublin's Pass. Well, everybody else was standing in line, very long lines at drink stations to get themselves something to drink, taken to the theater. I went to Dublin's Pass and got a drink in about a minute and a half. So I finished off there. I knocked that back real quick, went back in. I didn't have anything to drink in the theater. I don't do that anymore. I got used to not drinking during shows. When Seamus and I would go to the shows, I was kind of approaching this one the same way as, once we had time between the meet and greet, I'm going to go ahead and have a couple and relax. But I felt no need to keep drinking while I was in the theater. There was this guy sitting next to me. I swear to God, this dude was up 6 times during the Saxon show getting something to drink. He might have been taking a piss, but every time he got up and left, he came back with another drink. Damn, man, you're missing half the show. I mean, no sweat off my balls, really, but I had to make room for him to get in every time, get in and out. That was getting tedious. Anyway, I was a little concerned when I bought the ticket because I couldn't remember. They showed the seating chart, but that's not necessarily accurate to how the seating is in each individual theater, right? So now that I see how it works, I can better pick my next seat if something comes up soon that I want to go to, hopefully before I forget how it works again. But well, I hadn't been to a show there in a long time, since I think 2018. And it was Delbert McClinton. Tom, you just said you had been to. I hadn't been to a rock show like this. Since we lost Seamus. So this one, it was one of those things I wanted to go and I didn't want to go at the same time. But then, because it was on my birthday, I just felt like it was something Seamus would want me to do. That's the main reason I pulled the trigger and bought the tickets. But then, yeah, like I said, I always get this instant buyer's remorse the second I bought the tickets. You just spent all this money. And you don't even know if you're gonna enjoy going or not. I start doubting everything that I spent all this time convincing myself it's the right thing to do, and then all that doubt starts floating back the second I spend the money. But I will say, without a doubt, I'm glad I went to this one, for a lot of reasons. For me, for Seamus, and it was really enjoyable. It reminded me how much I enjoy live music. It reminded me how much I enjoy listening to this type of music and these bands. That's something I kind of forgot. I've been trying to, do other things. I've always loved the blues. So I've gone to a few blues shows and a few other things that some were enjoyable, some weren't, to be honest with you. But I just told myself I didn't need to do anything like this anymore. But forcing myself to do this one just reminded me how much I enjoy this type of, or that type of atmosphere. These bands, how grateful they seem to have you there. It was nice. I think there are certain, once bands hit a certain, I don't know what the right word is, plateau maybe. They they might seem they might not seem as grateful as you think they should. But here we've got bands that have been around for a very long time. They've had their ebbs and flows, and they just, both bands were incredibly grateful for everybody that came out. And I mentioned to a few of the folks during the meet and greet that was my birthday, and they shook my hand, said "Happy birthday." A couple of them gave me a hug. It was nice, man. It really was. I got some pictures. It was fun. Ultimately, I'm glad I did it. But I mean, from the time I bought the ticket to the day of the show, I was going through a lot of buyer's remorse. I don't know, man. This might not be a good idea. This could go horribly awry. Which is the main reason I made sure I did not drink anything uh, leading up to the meet and greet. So no, I got to go into this one because part of me wanted to have a beer because I was so nervous and I couldn't figure out why I was so nervous, but my hands were shaking. I was so nervous. Then I had to untie the thing from the handle. It's, oh my god! Now it's a math problem. People are watching me. The longer it took me to do it, the more I felt like everybody was watching me not be able to open this, right? Well, nobody was watching, but it's that idea that people are now staring at me because I can't get this fucking lanyard off of the handle. But anyway, but Tom, nobody would have known if you just didn't tell on yourself just now. I know, I just don't have the ability not to. Let me show you that one more time. Got some signatures there. Got some signatures on the shirt. Exactly who I've got, I couldn't tell you, man. I was kind of lost in the moment. But it was very enjoyable. So, anyways, I digress. I am Tom. I'll be the whiskey whisperer for the purpose of this video because I didn't have any beer with you. I want to thank all the members of Saxon and Uriah Heep. Man, this was a very memorable birthday for me. Again, for a lot of reasons. I thank my lovely wife for allowing me to do this, and she made me a nice cheesecake too. I had a slice before the show. That was really good, man. Maybe that's why maybe I had sugar coursing through my vein. Maybe that. Maybe that's why I was shaky. Too much sugar, man. Anyways, I digress. Anyways, It was nice. Anyway, I'm not sure who else to thank here, but anyway, I'm glad I did go to the show. It was rather enjoyable. Again, if you ever get a chance to see Saxon or Uriah Heep, if you like the genre, if you like that 70s hard rock, if you like that 80s metal, go. Even if you're not familiar with either band, if you're okay with the genre, go to the show, buy the ticket. I mean, you won't be disappointed. Both bands just put their heart and soul into the show. The musicianship, man, I don't know that I've ever seen two bands. I've seen a lot of concerts, man. I don't know that I've ever seen two bands in the same show be this tight. Both, no, I mean, there was no mistakes were made. The sound was perfect. The show was tight. It was amazing. Anyway, I am Tom the Whiskey Whisperer, Whiskey Evangelist, prolific whiskey drinker, purveyor of wisdom, man. All around good guys, Lancha. And I talked so much, I went into the next day. It's no longer my birthday. Have a good one, guys.